Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining us. I'm Rena Nine, and Republican Alabama Senate candidate Roy Moore's campaign, you see there, is holding a press conference. This comes amid allegations of sexual misconduct by Moore. Why don't we listen in?
Just hold on 1 second.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
I hear you, Amanda. Yep.
Sure. So I'll knock it down when I move. Okay.
Shouldn't.
All right, I want to thank you all for being here for our press conference. My name is Ben Dupre. You'll also be hearing from Dr. Stan Cook and Dean Young. We're going to try to keep it brief and to the point to answer some of the things that are still floating out there. By quick way of introduction, I have known Roy Moore for 15 years. I worked with him and for him between 2001 and 2016. Most recently as his chief of staff in the Alabama Supreme Court. And as you heard from Philip Juragi last week, I can also say I've traveled with the man, I've worked with the man, I've been in the inner office with the man, I've been in various cities around this state and in various states around the nation. I've seen him with crowds of thousands, and I've seen him one-on-one, and I can say without a shadow of a doubt that the man has been nothing but honorable and trustworthy and honest to me and to anybody in his presence, men and women alike. I supervised his staff over the past 4 years, three years or so, and never heard a single complaint by anybody about inappropriate behavior or uncomfortableness. So I just wanted to state that clearly, as Philip has done, and as everybody who knows Judge Moore well will say, that the man is above reproach. And it's why we stand here today, not because he's a man guilty as charged, and we're going to stand by our man anyway, but because we don't believe a word of these lies against him, and we know them to be false. We want not only to see him succeed in the immediate fight ahead of him, but to clear his good name. Over the past several months, the Washington Post, the Republican establishment, and the Democrat Party have waged a three-front war to destroy Judge Roy Moore's character and impeccable reputation. We understand why. Their worldviews could not be more opposite than that of Judge Moore. The press is quick to preserve the benefit of the doubt for liberals like Bill Clinton, Anthony Weiner, Bob Menendez, and Al Franken. However, they're similarly quick to pass judgment on a conservative who has served his state and his country without a hint of moral turpitude, even when allegations are put forth completely out of character with his entire life's record. We're here today to do the job for the press, to ask some questions, to offer some suggestions and some new evidence. The lies and character assassination of Judge Roy Moore ends today. Let's look at Lee Kaufman. She's made some serious allegations against Judge Moore to the Washington Post and yesterday in a very softball interview on the Today Show. We reject them as false, and we continue to maintain that Judge Moore did not know Lee Kaufman, nor has he ever known Lee Kaufman. But what we find interesting is that her story has been told in only the vaguest of terms without any deeper investigation by the media. Even on the Today Show yesterday, Kaufman was not asked to substantiate one detail of her story. So we have done some basic research and offer the following for consideration. Kaufman alleges, number one, that she was with her mother at a court hearing in early 1979. According to court documents that we were easily able to obtain at the Etowah County Courthouse, I'd be glad to give you directions. The Etowah County Courthouse, the court document signed by Lee Kaufman's parents back when she was a minor, asked for custody to be changed from the mother to the father. And as best as we can tell, the hearing, if it ever happened, to which Lee Kaufman refers, took place February 21st of 1979, and on that date, you haven't heard this yet, on that date, the judge signed the order where the parents requested that Lee Kaufman be transferred from the custody of her mother to her father. Secondly, she claims her life spiraled out of control after she first was contacted by Judge Roy Moore. However, as her own parents said in their joint petition to modify custody, and I quote, that each of the parties have become increasingly concerned and worried about certain disciplinary and behavioral problems being manifested by their minor child. Okay, this was the basis for them asking that custody be changed from Lee Kaufman's mother to her father, because the father was better equipped, having been remarried and being of a stronger personality, to deal with the already existing disciplinary problems of Lee Kaufman. Second problem with Lee Kaufman's story. Third, as you know, one of the linchpins of her story is that Judge Moore talked to her on, quote, her phone in her bedroom. Within days of this story coming out, her own mother told Breitbart News that there was no phone in her bedroom. So we know that has proved to be a falsehood as well. Fourthly, Kaufman claims that Moore picked her up around the corner from her house. Kaufman alleges that she would meet Moore around the corner from her house and he would take her to her house, according to her. However, according to public records that the media has not bothered to look at, we've been able to find that Kaufman's supposed pickup place was almost a mile away from her mother's house and would have been across a major thoroughfare. This is yet another improbable fact in Lee Kaufman's own words and story that the media has not bothered to investigate. Finally, I would point out that Kaufman's father did not live in Gadsden or even Rainbow City at the time of all this. He lived farther away in Ohatchee, Alabama, as is borne out by these court documents that you all may find at the Etowah County Courthouse. John Adams once said, "Facts are stubborn things, and whatever may be our wishes, our inclinations, or the dictates of our passions, they cannot alter the state of facts and evidence." If the liberal media were half as interested in investigating these accusations against Judge Moore as they are in scaring up 1980s era false gossip at the Gadsden Mall, then we would be getting to the bottom of this and moving on. We urge the press to do its job. Thank you.
My name is Stan Cook. I've known Judge Moore for many, many years. Knowing his history, knowing that he has run 5 campaigns in 35 years, I would like to point out, never has there been a time that his character or his integrity has been questioned in any of those political races. And with all of this vetting, why now? 4 weeks before the election. And why has he been attacked so ruthlessly, especially by the media, when the evidence and the facts are so easy to find? For my part, I want to review 2 things: the Gloria Allred story as attached to Beverly Nelson and the yearbook, and to the mall ban, the supposed mall ban. First, Judge Moore adamantly and without any hesitation rebuked Gloria Allred and Beverly Nelson for the false allegations concerning the yearbook. On Wednesday, one of our attorneys pointed out the message in the yearbook had been altered, faked, to look like Moore's signature. And the Moore campaign has called on Nelson's attorney, Gloria Allred, to release this yearbook for further analysis. She has refused. Allred has refused, and she said on MSNBC that even if the yearbook entry was altered, it would not affect the integrity of the allegation. Allegations are words, they are not facts. Allegations are words, they are not indictments, and they are not charges. It would not affect the integrity of their allegation. That's ridiculous. The yearbook was her star witness, and the witness has failed. Nelson's stepson took it upon himself to even post a video saying that he believed his stepmother was lying, being deceptive, and she did that for financial gain. In additional news reports, Nelson's former boyfriend at the time alleged that when this incident took place, that the Nelson story was false, and her former boyfriend believes Judge Moore and not Beverly Nelson. In addition, the Moore campaign has unveiled statements from key witnesses that completely counter all details of Beverly Nelson's story, and we can provide those to you. They are from past news releases that news media outlets have refused to print. Now on to the restaurant itself. Former waitresses at the Old Hickory House restaurant said employees had to be 16 years of age. No 15-year-olds worked there. According to former employees, the dumpsters were located on the side of the building. They were never in the back. The Old Hickory House set off a 4-lane highway. It had a wraparound porch, lights all around that porch, and it was lit properly. Nelson claimed the surroundings were dark and isolated. Again, a major contradiction. Rhonda Ledbetter, who worked at the Old Hickory House for almost 3 years, states that the earliest that the restaurant closed was at 11 a.m., but almost midnight. The reason why the restaurant never closed at 10 a.m. was that the Goodyear plant workers would come over and have their meal after their shift ended at 10 p.m. The restaurant never closed at 10 p.m., and this also contradicts Nelson's claim. It is unlikely that there was an entrance to the back of the building because the property was adjacent to homes in their backyards. There was no thoroughfare behind the building. Nelson claimed that Judge Moore came in almost every night and sat at the counter. But former employees tell us that customers that sat at the counter were served by the short order cook, and they never interacted with the wait staff. Additionally, 2 former waitresses and 2 former patrons state that they never saw Judge Moore in that restaurant. These witnesses have shared their testimony on multiple occasions with multiple news outlets, but these media outlets have refused to tell this story. Now let me go on to the shopping mall ban in Etowah County. As you know, Etowah County is a small county. Politics is rough in that county. Political knives are sharp. It's old school. Some contests from old days are being relived now. Some people are seeking vengeance for past events that they have concocted or said or dreamed up. But let me set this record straight. Roy Moore's character has been spoken of and spoken for 40 plus years of public service. And only now has these accusers come forward. This is an effort by these people, the liberal media, the Republican establishment, to malign the good name of Judge Moore. Yesterday, Judge Moore's campaign unveiled key witnesses that have debunked the claims of being banned from the Gadsden Mall. We contacted Johnny Adams. Johnny Adams was the Gadsden Mall operations manager for 14 years. He worked there for 26 years. His statement is as follows. In all my 26 years of working at the Gadsden Mall, I never heard anything about Roy Moore being banned from the mall or any other mention of issues concerning him. As the operations manager overseeing mall security, I would have been aware of any incident that would have occurred. There were none. In closing, I want to say this. You men and women of the media are responsible for the stories and printing the truth. Free press is what we cherish in this country, but not being free with the facts. And I'm asking you, I'm urging you, I'm imploring you to print and tell the truth. Thank you.
Take some questions?
No, we're not right now. Listen, I'm Dean Young. I've been with Judge Moore for 25 years, and I was with him before the ACLU rolled into Gadsden, Alabama, and had their tails kicked. And I've been with him all these years. Let me just tell you something. The same thing's going to happen on December the 12th. All of this stuff is going to be settled, and Judge Moore will be our next senator. Now, Alabamians, I want to talk to you. You guys are seeing us through the national TV shows, but the local Alabamians, I want to tell you what's going on. I want you to understand, Alabamians, that the Judge Moore you knew 2 weeks ago is the same Judge Moore. And what we're seeing on a national and a worldwide effort is to stop Judge Roy Moore at any cost. And when I say any cost, Mitch McConnell has spent over $30 million trying to stop Judge Moore. The Washington Post and all the fake media for the last 2 weeks have said everything they can say about Judge Moore. They're trying to dig people up, put them on TV, and say, Judge Moore's a bad guy. The contest is this, and this is where the rubber hits the road. What are Alabamians going to do? If you can be tricked, Alabamians, with the $30 million from Mitch McConnell, maybe it's 40 by now, and the Washington Post fake stories, if you can be tricked in 2 weeks about Judge Roy Moore, then they win. And what do they win? Why is it such a big deal? Why 2 weeks ago did we wake up and we hear all this stuff about Judge Roy Moore that we've never heard, although we've watched him for 25 years stand for what's right? Always has. He stands for what's right, what's just, and what's fair. And we all know that in Alabama. All right? So why did this happen? I think the future of this country rides on this race. And let me tell you why. Donald Trump just exploded the establishment. This is the first senatorial election since Donald Trump went into office. So the magnitude of what's going on here can't be overestimated. You've got to understand, Alabamians, that the world is watching you. You know, we read that story about Esther, it says such a time as this. It's not just Judge Moore for such a time as this. It's you people in Alabama, because you're the ones that are put here, I believe, by God, to make a decision that will affect the course of not only this nation, but the world, because the world is watching to see what you do. And the question is, can you be tricked? Can you be tricked? Because all hell is coming to Alabama against Judge Roy Moore. Anything they can do, any lie they can make up, any person they can drag up and put in front of a TV camera and say negative things about Judge Moore, it's coming. But don't be tricked, because you, Alabamians, will have to stand up on December the 12th. That's 12/12. And you'll have to show the world that we won't be tricked, that we're not a bunch of idiots, we're not a bunch of sheep like the mainstream media wants you to act like, or Mitch McConnell. They think they can do this stuff about Judge Moore in 2 weeks and all y'all just run for the hills. Well, they don't know y'all. They don't know y'all. And I'll tell you this, media, fake news people, let me tell you this. Alabamians will go and they'll have Thanksgiving on Thursday. Black Friday will start. Then we're going to have a war amongst ourselves. It's called the Iron Bowl. But I'm going to tell you something. After church on Sunday, and this is what I want you Alabamians to do. I want y'all to talk about it at Thanksgiving. And I want y'all to talk about it Sunday night after church. And I want y'all to think in your brain, Judge Moore that we've known for 25 years, are we going to be sold a bill of goods by Mitch McConnell and the fake news? Are we? Are we that gullible? And the answer is going to be no. I'll tell you right now, there was a poll done last night, media, and Judge Moore's over 6 points ahead still. Now, Fox News can put out their fake polls, and everybody else can too, but he's still winning, and he's never been losing, because the people of Alabama don't go for what y'all are trying to sell. So just like you said, Luther Strange and Judge Moore were even Steven, Fox News, well, guess what? Judge Moore won by 10, and we're going to win again. And that's the message. That's the message, Alabamians. Y'all have known Judge Moore for 25 years. Y'all have watched him, and none of this has ever shown up until right before this election. And again, this election has ramifications, not only for Alabama, not only for the United States, but for the world. And by the way, that's why you saw Kellyanne come out yesterday and say, we've got to have somebody like Judge Moore. We've got to have someone like Judge Moore. Well, you know, Kellyanne does talk to the White House. Now, why is that? Why, Alabamians, do we need Judge Moore? Well, number one, there's a Supreme Court justice that's thinking about retiring. Now, this other guy, Doug, the liberal Democrat Jones, he will not put someone on there that stands against abortion, because Doug, the Democrat, the liberal Democrat Jones, stands for abortion with his own words all the way up until the baby's born. And so that means partial birth abortion. That's who this guy is. Now, he's trying to trick y'all too. Don't think the Democrats aren't trying to trick you guys. He's trying to trick y'all to make y'all think that he's some kind of moderate. Well, he's not. He's for abortion till the baby's born. He's for transgenders going into your little girls' bathrooms and boys pretending like they're girls going into the bathrooms with your children at school. And Alabamians, if you've got a teenager that's in the locker room, girl, and one of these transgender people decide they want to be a girl for the day, well, Doug Jones thinks they should be able to go take a shower with them. So here's what's going to happen. Judge Moore's going to win. Judge Moore's going to go help Donald Trump. He's going to pass tax reform. He's going to build a wall that Doug Jones is against. He's against, Doug Jones is not for stopping Obamacare. No, he is a dyed-in-the-wool liberal Democrat. And Alabamians, we cannot send anybody like that to Washington. So we want to send someone, we want to send Judge Moore to Washington, because Judge Moore will help President Trump get done what needs to get done. And all this Jerry Springer stuff is over. And I'm talking to all y'all. We're not going to do this anymore as a campaign. So all you people that run around yelling stuff at Judge Moore, asking him these ridiculous questions, I'm the chief political strategist. And my advice is, every time they yell something like that to you, Judge Moore, or to the campaign, just think it's a Jerry Springer show. Don't answer it. Judge Moore's answered all the questions. We believe Judge Moore. We don't believe these women. It's just that simple. And y'all can keep trotting them out if you want to, but we're not going to talk about that. We're going to talk about helping Donald Trump, making America great again. So y'all can quit asking us questions, quit yelling stuff, quit being rude. We're going to say what we're going to say. And Alabamians, don't be tricked by this crowd. Don't be tricked. Talk about it during Thanksgiving. Talk about it Sunday night. And when it starts, we'll have 2 weeks after Thanksgiving. And I promise you, we're going to have a campaign that will distinguish Judge Moore, an honorable man that you've known for 25 years, against a liberal, flaming liberal extremist Democrat, Doug Jones, who stands for abortion, transgender rights in the military, on and on and on, won't help with the tax cuts, none of that stuff. So the battle's here, and we're going to fight to the death, and we will be standing on the 12th of December, and Judge Roy Moore will be the next senator. And that's all we got to say today. So don't yell questions. I think I've answered all that, because that's all Jerry Springer stuff. We'll answer the questions later. Y'all can make all your stuff, no.
Will you answer questions later?
I'll answer questions later, but not right now.
We've been listening in to a press conference there held by Roy Moore's campaign. Among them, Stan Cook there, you see spokesperson for Roy Moore, coming forward and again poking holes at the allegations presented against Roy Moore.